Let's complete the notes from yesterday where we talked about positive, negative, and no correlation. So for positive correlation, we have these two scatter plots. It's a trend that is going upward, kind of like a slope that's positive. So let's look and see income and education. So the more education you have, what should happen to your income? It should increase. And that doesn't mean you have to have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate to earn a lot of money. It just means the more you know, the more opportunities you have to make some money. So even if that's just getting your welder certificate or electrician, those people, they make a lot of money. Okay, what's another one that's positive? Hours, studying, and grades. Yeah. If you're studying a bunch, you're preparing yourself for tests, you're doing your work, your grades are going to increase. Same thing is true if you don't study. Your grades are going to decrease. Okay. I thought this one was funny. Hours in the mall and money spent. If you spend a lot of time in the mall, what's most likely going to happen? You're going to spend a lot of money. So hours in the mall is positive, going up. Amount of money is increasing, it's going up. All right. Let's look at negative. So these are the graphs that go with negative correlation. So let's look and see. What about temperature and the number of jackets? A number of people wearing jackets. Yep. Temperature's going up. Number of people wearing jackets is going down. So that's a negative. Distance traveled and the amount of gas in a car. So distance goes up. Gas will go down because you're using it. Number of days absent from school and grades. It's a negative. The more you're absent, the lower your grades will probably be because you've got to get caught up on all that work you missed. You missed out on the teacher's instructions. You don't know what to do. What's another one? I know there's one more. I might have lost it. Skateboard. Oh, yes. Weight on the skateboard and the speed the skateboard travels. The more weight, the slower. Unless it's going downhill. That one's a confusing one. I'm not a physics teacher. But weight, the more weight, the slower the speed. Think about an 18-wheeler. That has a lot of weight, right? Do they go slower than an itty-bitty car? So that's what I would say. My taping skills. It's beautiful, isn't it? Hey, whatever works. All right, no correlation. How tall a person is, how fast they drive. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Number of pets a person has, the number of books a person reads. No. Test scores and shoe size. Is that it? Yep, it's just those three. All right, we're going to put this in our journal. We are going to look back at this. Don't glue this in just yet. Let's finish this one so that we can glue both of these in at the same time. So yesterday we did correlation versus causation. So today we are going to look at the R value of correlation. We can actually have our calculator find the R value. So we're going to learn about that. Let's look at the examples on the bottom here. Well, a reminder first. Let me go here. The R value is the correlation coefficient. So if you are asked, what is the correlation coefficient? This is what you're looking for. You're looking for a number between -1 and +1. And it describes or shows strength and the direction of the correlation. So anything close to 0 is considered weak. It's more like a scatter plot, like a no correlation. Anything closer to 1 or -1, either direction, is considered strong. So example 1 and 2 says put the following correlation coefficients in order from weakest to strongest. So our weak ones are close to 0. Our strong ones are close to 1 or -1. So let's look at this example. So what would be our weakest? No, because that's strong because it's close to -1. So think about 0 as very weak, and heading out to -1 is strong, and +1 is strong. Yeah. So it would be, so I'm going to put weak to strong, starts with 0.07. That is a very weak correlation. If you were to graph it on a scatter plot, it would be all over the place. So we got that one. What would be the next one? Yeah. 4300ths. That's getting a little stronger. See how it's going out to here? It's getting closer to here. So it's heading in the strong direction. So no matter if it's positive or negative, that doesn't matter. It's how close is it to 1 or -1. All right, what would be our next one? Yep. So remember, the negative doesn't matter. That just tells you it's a negative correlation. It doesn't tell you how strong it is. And then 87. And the strongest, -0.98. Okay, go ahead and do the next one. Weak to strong again. Okay, what's the weakest? Yep, 0.04. Next. Yep, 0.32. Next. Yep, -0.42. And then 0.63. -0.65. So the way that these R values look on the graph is scatter plot with no correlation is close to 0. It's getting to be a little bit stronger with 0.5, but it's going to be a straight line with -1 or +1. So this is how it's represented. R is 1 here. It's in a straight line. It's positive. It's going uphill. It has like a positive slope. So if R is negative, that means it has a negative slope. It's going downhill. This one's not as straight of a line, but it's still a correlation. And it's positive. So the way that the R value looks is like 0.8. So if you were to convert this to a percent, it'd be like 80% of the data is in line. 100% of the data is in line. 0% of the data is in line. So anytime it's 0, it's no correlation at all. If it's going downhill and it's in a straight line, it's a negative correlation. But the 1 means it's in a straight line. The negative 0.4, that's still negative. It's going downhill. It has a downhill trend, but it's not in a straight line. If you were to convert this to a percent, it'd be like 40% of the points are in the line. So again, this is negative. They actually put it as negative 0.43, which I told you the calculator will find the R value for us. All right, so let's look at these and guess what the R value is. This is positive. So these two are out, right? Because it's going uphill. Is it 0? Is it a no correlation? Is it in a straight line? Is it a perfectly straight line? No. So the only option is 0.5. Okay, what about this one? What kind of correlation is this? Negative. So what answer choices can we mark out? Yeah. Which one do you think it's closest to? Is it more in a straight line than this one? Yeah, I would say negative 1. It's probably going to be like 0.9 or something like that. All right, what about this one? It's positive. It's closer to a straight line, so I would say 1. All right, so this, let's look at our journal. This was on page, so if you look at where we're at, we haven't glued this one in. We're actually going to finish that one right now. We're going to look over here. We're going to glue this in right here. Tape, glue. And then the other one's going to go on that other page. So then this one goes over here. Types of correlation. Go ahead and name it types of correlation. Okay, we're going to finish this one now. So everybody get this one out. So this is going back to our calculator. So remember how I told you that the calculator will find the R value for us? We just need to do one thing. And guess what? Our calculator turns it off every time we refresh or clear out our memory. So we've got to do this every single time that we want to find the R value. So we're going to follow these same steps, but to find the R value, we've got to turn on stat diagnostics. So make sure you can fit this on here. We're just going to write a few things. Mode. So to find the R value, turn on stat diagnostics. Write that out to the side. And I'm going to show you the steps. So go back to this page. Go ahead and write this down. And then I'll show you the steps. So I made room because I know I'm going to glue this in, just not yet. I just don't want to cover this up. So I want enough room over here to not cover it up. So go ahead and clear out the memory on your calculator right now. Second plus 712. And you have to turn on stat diagnostics every time you want to find the R value. Right before you get your STAR test, you'll have to turn your stat diagnostics on if you're asked what is the R value. This is how you do it. So remember, you don't get a cheat sheet to tell you how to use the calculator. You've got to remember how to do it. So that's what we're going to practice it over and over and over again. So go mode. So write that down. Mode. This is where we can change like the settings. It's kind of like the settings button. Mode. Do you see stat diagnostics anywhere? Yes. Near the bottom. So go down. And you want to turn it on. Push enter. So now that on is highlighted. If it doesn't highlight it, it doesn't work. After you do that, it'll give you your R value. So let's go ahead and do this one. We're going to follow the same steps. Just instead of it just giving us A and B, it's going to give us the R value also. So hit second quit to get out of there. Second quit. Quit is right beside mode. Anytime you're in a spot that you want to get out of, second quit. Second mode. All right, let's follow the steps for putting in L1 and L2. So go stat, edit. Now put your numbers in for L1. And put your numbers in for L2. Go to stat, edit. Right beside the arrows. So the steps are here. Okay, so we have it in. Now go to stat again. Arrow over to calc. And we're going to do linear regression because we're going to be told that it's a line. If we're told it's quadratic or exponential, then we use the exponential or quadratic regression. And then push enter. It gives us an R now. What does 0.997 for an R value mean? It's going to be straight. It's going to be almost exactly in a line. If you look back at this, what we did, it was almost in a line, right? So let's write R equals, and you're not doing R squared, you're doing R. 0.997. So do it to 3 decimal places. So that means it's almost a straight line. And if we look back at this, so let's look at how to plot these again. So once you have this done, let's go to step 7 because this was something we did the other day, but let's do it again. It says to see the data, I'm going to put on here scatter plot. Number 7 is the start of the scatter plot on our graph of y equals in the calculator. So we are going to do second y equals. And it says the word stat plot. kind of like a scatter plot. Second, y equals. We're going to turn the plot on. Turn it on. And then if you hit graph, you'll see the points. But what you need to also do is do zoom stat. So zoom number 9. Now it looks better. We can see all of it. So these are the steps I did. Second, y equals. Turn it on. Go to graph. And then do zoom stat. Also, put equation in y equals. So you can see how closely the data goes through those points. Zoom is right here. And then number 9. Now go to y equals and let's put our equation that we found the other day in there. 2.6x minus 1.8. And then hit graph again. And then see how the line goes through those points. It's almost perfect. It's like 99% on the line. But it's not 100%. All right, so now you are going to do example 1 and 2 with your table groups. So start with 1. Correlation coefficient, C, that's asking what is R. Equation is asking what is the equation. So you're going to finish this, and then we'll talk about it in the next lesson.